higher self, to really connect with your soul more, oftentimes what happens is we have to work on the particular centers that we connect through. For example, the pineal gland is literally a calcite crystal in the head. It is our tuning mechanism for the higher self. Some of what I teach has to do with awakening that pineal gland, making the connection more strong, and opening up the channel called the Antakarana. The Antakarana is literally our connection to the soul and the guardian angel, to the Creator. This Antakarana is, again, a Hindu term that is literally your pathway to the heavens. So we try to develop that and get people to open up more to that divine connection, to that divine part of themselves, the soul and the guardian angel. To not only connect for energy, but for guidance as well. That, again, that balances down through the body, and you work on getting the three parts of yourself to harmonize. For example, if you have a good connection to your higher self, your divine self, but your lower self, your subconscious or your inner child, does not feel worthy of receiving the blessings, then your lower self will reject the energy or blessings from the higher self. This is why I talk about trying to work on personal evolution as well as the spiritual in parallel in order to make that union. There's a lot of techniques that are taught that can really make a difference. Synchronized breathing, for example. When you're with lover, you can try to match your breath at the same rate, bringing it in and out. You're literally drawing prana in, atmospheric prana, energy that comes in with the air into the lungs. So if you do that simultaneously, you begin to synchronize the bodies. You begin to synchronize the mechanism. We find that in science we can literally look at some of these things. For example, people in a room, if you measure their brain waves, after a while the brain waves start to synchronize. So anything you can do to synchronize with your lover can help with that process of connecting. We know that one technique is to slow down in your lovemaking. Slow the pace down. And it's surprising how people will think, oh, that can't improve anything. But you read the text and you find out that when you slow the heart rate down to about 100 beats, what happens is, as the pulses go down the arteries, it triggers the body to go into these altered states. So if you think about a pulse going down a wire, if the pulses are spaced at exactly the right point, they literally help each other go down the line. And so that standing wave in electronics is called. If you get the heart rate to that right range, that standing wave is one of the ways that you trigger these altered states of consciousness, these deeper pleasurable states. So oftentimes you have to understand the mechanism of why you slow down, not just slow down. You've got to get the heart rate to a certain level, and then you develop that standing wave, and that can help bring you into these mind states. There's really a lot of different techniques out there. Particularly, you pick up the Taoist books and you look at these things, and there's 100 different things from the front of the book to the back. Very intimidating at times to think, well, if I have to do all these practices, if I do this, it's going to take 4 hours out of every day. Nobody has time to do that. So oftentimes we see these different techniques and go to workshops and read books, and it's almost overwhelming. You just can't keep that, practice up continually. So I usually teach people to focus on things like microcosmic orbit only, or maybe 2 or 3 different things. You can try different things and see what works well for you. So much of it is an individual thing. Different people have different issues and different nadis that are open. So as you learn things, don't be intimidated by the vast amount of things. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Almost like a yoga practice, you don't have to do every yoga exercise in the book. It's what are the most important ones for you.
Could you exercise to like increase kundalini, like energy along the spine, and like decrease blockages?
That's
So
definitely,
people have back problems and stuff.
definitely the microcosmic orbit. That's the number one thing I suggest to people.
Yeah, that one that you taught, when you exhale, you release the perineal lock, and then when you inhale, you release the tongue lock, right?
Well, you keep the tongue through for the mouth the whole time.
Keep the, okay.
And as you breathe in, you contract the muscles in the perineum, and then as you breathe out, you bring the energy down the body, front of the body, and you relax the perineum. You're going to bring the energy into the heart center here, the chakra. Mantak Chia originally had a Taoist healing center, and doctors would send patients to him. And he found that after a while, he was teaching everybody the microcosmic orbit. He was just so good for health and longevity that it became his #1 recommended practice. And that's, again, why I recommend it. Now, you can do variations on that. I mean, it can be fairly complicated. The Taoists teach you to bring the energy from the first breath up to here, the second breath to here, third breath to here, fourth breath, and then all the way one at a time. So there are points on the body that they have marked out, T7, things like that. But what I teach people is to keep it simple. One of the most important things in spiritual advancement is to keep it simple. Don't make it so complicated that you're consciously in your mind all the time trying to make it work. Again, Mantak Chia's books are very good for that. He has 2 books. There's one for women and one for men. So I'm trying to remember the titles. Taoist Secrets of Love, Cultivating Female Sexual Energy. I'm forgetting what the men's book is. I have this information on my webpage, and certainly you can ask me about it later. His books are in the public library over here. Very easy to get to. Gateways as well.
Can you spell it again?
Mantak, M-A-N-T-A-K, Chia, C-H-I-A. He has 5 Taoist healing centers in the United States. One's in San Francisco.